As the late, great Ernie Banks once said, let's play two. Welcome to Dunn Field here in Elmira, New York. My name is Tom Rook here on the American Sports Network. It's an exciting game to get after it here at Dunn Field. In the third edition of this matchup this year, it's the Niagara Falls Americans taking on the Elmira Pioneers, a battle of two Can USA-owned clubs as these two teams battle it out today here at Dunn Field, historic in Elmira, New York. Take a look at the Americans starting lineup this afternoon in game one of a 7-inning twin bill. Leading off, playing second base is Justin Gladfelter. Back-to-back games at shortstop, now moving back to his natural position at second base. David Harris out in center field. Dominic Zangardi, the designated hitter. Matthew Ganschow leads this team in RBIs. He'll be in left field. Adam Weiss, after a day off yesterday from the starting lineup, did come in later on in the game as a pinch runner in the 10th inning, which the Americans did lose to the Olean Oilers. But Weiss now in the lineup today. Over at first base, Thomas Marcotte, after a day off, will be back at the hot corner. Logan Stickler, the extra hitter. Anthony Savino at shortstop. Ryotaro Munakata out in right field. He entered in the game yesterday after a Xander Clark scary injury, who unfortunately is now out for the season. That's a big loss for this Americans team in the outfield. And then Christopher Snooze back behind the plate for the Americans, and a new arm tonight on the mound, or I should say this afternoon. It's Nate Kroll, wears number 47 from Onondaga Community College. He'll make his first start of the summer for the Americans this afternoon against the Pios. Then on the mound for the Pios and in the lineup, take a look at the Pioneers' defensive alignment. Michael Geisler getting his first start on the mound this year for the Pios. Actually pitched for them last summer. He'll do the battery with Brandon Dubek behind the plate. Manny Castro at third, Jalen Tidwell at short, Manny Esley at second, and Ryan Gabinelli over there at first. Then the outfield is Tyson Gingrich, Brett Baker, and Caleb Delaney, who's up there in the top of the PGCBL in batting average this year. Delaney having a really successful year for the Pios. They come into this afternoon against the Americans 15-14 on the year, currently sitting in that fourth place spot. They went 23-20-1 last year, so just 8 wins away from their season total of wins in 2025. 8-7 at home here at Dunn Field, 7-7 on the road. They lost a tough one last night against the Batavia Muck Dogs, so back-to-back Can USA battles for the Pios between yesterday and today with the Muck Dogs and the Americans. The Americans coming into this afternoon 9-23 on the year. They went 30-16 in 2025. Home record this year for the Americans 6-11 compared to on the road. They really have struggled, 3-12 on the road, and they've lost their last 11 in a row. Looking to break that losing streak here this afternoon in a 7-inning twin bill at Dunn Field. It's Justin Gladfelter. It's Michael Geisler. We're ready for game one of a doubleheader here at Dunn Field. Geisler out of the stretch, ready for game one, pitch one against Gladfelter. Opening pitch is low for a ball, 1-0. Geisler pitched for the Pioneers last summer. 4 appearances, 4 starts, went 2-1, had a 4.2 ERA in 15 innings. A really power arm on the mound right now for the Pioneers. Played his collegiate ball at Southeastern as he misses outside. Now 2-0 to Gladfelter. Geisler sits anywhere from 93 to 95 with the fastball. Southeastern University out in Lakeland, Florida, now in the transfer portal after this past year at Southeastern. It'll be a 2-0 to Gladfelter in there with a fastball called a strike. Now 2-1. Geisler features a fastball, slider, changeup. Slider anywhere from 80 to 84. Changeup 84 to 87 miles an hour. Gladfelter quickly ahead, 2-1. Been a consistent leadoff bat for this Americans team, although David Harris been in that leadoff spot as of late. 2-1. Gladfelter takes it outside for a strike. Now 2-2. Gets the corner. Does Geisler. Nobody on, nobody out. We're in the top of the first here at Dunn Field. Gladfelter at the plate against a right-handed power arm in Michael Geisler. Here's the 2-2 from Geisler. Pitch, chop back up the middle, off the glove of Geisler. Esley will field with one hand, go on to first, and beat Gladfelter. No, he won't. Gladfelter beats it out. So it's an infield single for Justin Gladfelter. Close play at first. I thought he had him, but Gladfelter beats it out, and the Americans have a leadoff runner on here in the top of the first. That's what Gladfelter brings to this team. A whole lot of speed. 21 stolen bags on the year. Really dominant in that spot. Been struggling a little bit in the field, though, as of late. But 2 hits last night, now a third today in the past 2 games. That'll bring up David Harris, Mr. Consistent for this Americans team. Gladfelter off first, count 0-0. There he goes. First pitch going. Throw down to second. Gladfelter in there. He's out. Looked like he was under the tag from my eyes. I'm 0 for 2 today, and my umpire reads, but Will Cordero clearly frustrated, as well as Justin Gladfelter. From my angle, looked like Gladfelter was well under the tag. But that's the first out of the inning. A nice throw back there from Brandon Dubik as Gladfelter's caught stealing. So Dave Harris behind in the count 0-1. Harris currently 4th in all the PGCBL in batting average. Pitch inside, misses. Now 1-1. Geisler really bringing it. As I mentioned, he sits anywhere 93 to 95. A 6'2", 185-pound right-hander from Wilmington, Massachusetts. 7.5 ERA this past year at Southeastern in 6 appearances. Count 1-1. Pitch to Harris. Chop foul. Now 1-2. Harris hitting .449. Riding a 10-game hitting streak. Also a 15-game on-base streak. He's 9 for his last 17. Been about as red hot as you can be at the plate. Has David Harris. He bats from the left side from Essex, Vermont. Plays at Clarkson University, Division III school in Potsdam. Count 1-2. 1 out in the inning. Pitch to Harris. Chopped back to short. Going to be a tough play. Tidwell fields. Goes on to first, but not nearly in time. Back-to-back infield singles for this Americans team. The speed really showing so far this afternoon. So David Harris reaches. He's 1 for 1 today. That hitting streak extended 11 games now for David Harris. Had an infield single last night against the Oilers as well. Both of these teams coming off tough losses. Not a walk-off loss last night for the Oilers, but certainly felt like it. They won in the top of the 10th. The Americans unable to score in the bottom of the 10th, whereas the Pios were walked off on by the Muck Dogs. Count 0-0 now to Dominic Zangardi, and it hits him. Zangardi wears a heater from Geisler, and the Americans have first and second now with 1 out of the inning. Looks like Zangardi's going to be okay, but that one definitely didn't feel too good as Matt Ganschow will stroll to the plate. So Zangardi off first, Harris off second. Ganschow now batting in the 4-hole. He'll play left field this afternoon. Like I mentioned, Ganschow leads this team in RBIs, 24 on the season, hitting .354 with 1 homer, albeit an inside the Parker at home at Sal Maglie Stadium on the 4th of July. 1 out in the inning, first and second for the Americans. Ganschow against Geisler. Pitch, up and out for ball 1. So the Americans started the inning with an infield single by Justin Gladfelter, but he was thrown out at second trying to steal. My eyes looked like he was under the tag, diving head first, but was called out on the play. Geisler out of the stretch, checks on Harris at second a couple times, now delivers to Ganschow. Ganschow gives that one a ride to deep right center. A long run for Brett Baker. He won't get there. It's over his head. Harris heads for third. He's going to get the wave home. A relay throw from Esley. A close play at the plate. Harris is in there. He beats the throw. An RBI double for Matt Ganschow. Check that, a single. A long single in the books, but the Americans take a 1-0 lead as Matt Ganschow extends his RBI total to 25. So one of the longest singles you'll ever see as Ganschow rips that to right center. He's on first now. Zangardi off second. David Harris scored on the play. Zangardi had to hold up as well as Harris to make sure that ball wasn't getting run down by Brett Baker. So that'll bring up Adam Weiss with runners at first and second and one out. Pitch to Weiss is cut on and missed. Strike one. How about Ganschow attacking a hard-throwing guy like Geisler, driving it deep to right center, just not getting credit for an extra base hit, but still gets the RBI. Count 0-1. Pitch to Weiss. Hit to right field, but going to be foul. Now 0-2. Americans have lost 11 in a row, but you look at their offense, put up a couple crooked numbers as of late. Had a 6-run inning at Batavia on Friday night. Again, just 2 runs last night, but 6-run inning against Batavia Friday night. Put up a good amount of runs on Thursday night as well. 7 runs in that game. Ganschow off first, Zangardi off second. Count is 0-2. Pitch to Weiss outside, misses. Now 1-2. Americans trying their best to extend Geisler so he doesn't have to go too deep into this game. Just a 7-inning game. They're trying to get to the Pios bullpen as quickly as they can, which proved to work well in the first meeting between these two teams. Second meeting, I should say. First and second, 1-2 inside. Misses now 2-2. Good take from Adam Weiss. Weiss pitched a couple times this summer for the Americans, but suffered a forearm injury his last time on the mound, so it looks like he'll just be a position player the rest of the summer. Getting to start at first base today is Weiss, hitting .237 on the year. 1 for his last 10, though. 2-2 count, 1 out in the inning. Weiss batting from the right side. Pitch, swung and a miss, strike 3. A big strikeout for Geisler as Weiss is down on strikes for the second out of the inning. So now 2 outs. That'll bring up Thomas Marcotte. Americans started the inning with 2 straight infield singles. A Dominic Zangardi hit by pitch and a Matt Ganschow deep single to right center gave them a 1-0 lead. So 3 hits in the inning for the red, white, and blue. It'll bring up Thomas Marcotte in a big spot with 2 outs in first and second. Geisler checks on Zangardi, delivers outside. Called a strike, gets the corner with the heater. Now 0-1. Marcotte 3 for 16 so far in July. 146 batting average on the summer, but kind of solidified himself as of late as that starting third baseman outside of the last 2 games where he's been done some work on the mound. Swings and misses right there. Quickly behind 0-2 against Geisler, grooving the heater against Marcotte. Americans lost a tough one, 4-2 in 10 innings last night against the Oilers. 0-3 against Olean, 1-1 against Pioneers on the year against Elmira. Here's the 0-2 to Marcotte. Misses upstairs with a curveball, now 1-2. Marcotte against Geisler. Geisler in the transfer portal, pitched at Northern Essex Community College, and then this past year at Southeastern. Has 2 years of eligibility still left. Pitch, Marcotte fouls it right back. It'll stay 1-2. Geisler actually pitched earlier this summer in the NECBL, the New England Collegiate Baseball League, for the North Shore Navigators. Now moving to Elmira for the rest of this summer. Count 1-2 against Marcotte. First and second, 2 outs in the inning. Pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Back-to-back strikeouts for Michael Geisler. Gets Weiss and Marcotte down after a big successful inning for the red, white, and blue. They score 1 run on 3 hits. No errors in the inning, but 2 runners left on base. The Pios coming to bat here in the bottom of the first. at Dunn Field. The Niagara Falls Americans thank Casella Waste Systems for their continued support. Casella offers sustainable waste management and garbage pickup right here in Niagara Falls. As an environmental service provider, Casella manages and transforms society's waste into new resources. Call 716-637-4843 to get a price quote on garbage pickup. The Niagara Falls Americans would like to thank TLC Pet Food for their continued support. Specializing in nutrient-dense recipes, TLC Pet Food offers dog and cat food with fresh ingredients and added probiotics. Find the whole life dog and cat formulas for your furry friend at tlcpetfood.com. Back here at Dunn Field, a good crowd this afternoon always is. Pioneers known for great attendance across all collegiate summer leagues in the entire country. So that'll bring us into the bottom of the first. We'll take a look at the Pioneers starting lineup for today. Caleb Delaney out there in right field. He'll lead things off, having a heck of a season at the plate, batting .460 on the year, rivaling the Americans' David Harris, who is just hitting a couple points higher now with that first inning single. Now batting second for the Pios is Nick Spanner. He'll be the designated hitter, usually a catcher, but getting the DH spot here in Game 1. Could see him behind the plate in Game 2. Brett Baker out there in center. He was named a midseason All-Star for this Pios team. Manny Castro at third. Alex Davis, an extra hitter, another catcher in this lineup that is going to be the extra hitter. Brandon Dubeck behind the plate. Threw out Justin Gladfelter. The beauty of a throw in the first inning. Tyson Gingrich out in left. Jalen Tidwell at short. Ryan Gabinelli at first. And Manny Esley at second with Michael Geisler on the bump. The Americans' defensive alignment this afternoon against the Pios. It'll be Matt Ganschow, David Harris, Ryotaro Munakata from left to right in the outfield. Thomas Marcotte, Anthony Savino, Justin Gladfelter, Adam Weiss in the infield. And then the battery, a new guy on the mound, Nate Kroll with C.J. Snooze behind the plate. Kroll out of Gettsville, New York. Going to be a sophomore in the fall at Onondaga Community College, a southpaw. Went to Williamsville North High School, so a very local guy in Niagara Falls as he lands strike one against Delaney. Count is 0-1. We're now in the bottom of the first. Kroll on the mound, working out of the stretch as a lefty. Pitch, that one's hit into right. Munakata came in. Now we'll back up and make the play for the first out of the inning. Good adjustment from Munakata right there. Now that'll bring up Caleb Delaney, as that was Manny Esley that flew out. So Esley now sliding into the leadoff spot. Delaney batting second. That one's bounced down the third baseline. It's going to stay fair. Trickles over the third base bag. Delaney will round first and head to second. So it's a one-out double for Caleb Delaney. That just gets over the third base bag and stays fair. So the Pios have a runner at second now with one out here in the bottom of the first. And that'll bring up Nick Spanner. Spanner, the DH this afternoon for the Pios. First pitch from Kroll is outside. Ball one. Americans lead 1-0 here in the bottom half of the first after a couple of infield singles, hit by a pitch, and then a long single off the bat of Matt Ganschow. Count is 1-0 against Spanner. Pitch from Kroll, swing and a miss. Now 1-1. A nice off-speed pitch from Kroll to land in the dirt that a guy like Spanner does not chase a whole lot, but does right there. Spanner out of Portsmouth, Rhode Island. At the plate now, batting from the right side. Pitch outside, misses. Spanner going to be a junior at Holy Cross University in Worcester, Massachusetts. This past year at Holy Cross, hit .288 in 19 games. And he's quickly ahead in the count, 2-1. Delaney off second. Checked on, now pitch outside. Missing with the changeup is Kroll, so now 3-1. Americans didn't use too much out of the bullpen last night, and by too much I mean none. Aiden Rose went the distance through 10 innings, 109 bullets. So the Americans bullpen should be hopefully about as fresh as it can be. If you're an Americans fan, you're hoping so. Count 3-1, pitch. Fastball bounced up the middle. Gladfelter fields on the backhand, slides, pops, throws, got him! What a play from Justin Gladfelter. Throws out Nick Spanner for the second out of the inning. Robs him of a base hit and an RBI. Gladfelter really showed some range over there at second throughout the season. A heck of a play right there to rob Delaney of a hit. So now 2 outs in the inning. Runner at third. Kroll against Manny Castro now, playing third base. Pitch outside corner, gets the call, strike one. A good spot from Kroll. Kroll, a long, lengthy lefty. Pitching for the Americans today, 6'2", about 165 pounds out there on the mound. 0-1. That one bounced to the left side. Marcotte over it, makes the play, gets it across his body, and he's got him. A nice play by Thomas Marcotte on the other end of the infield. So in the inning, the Pios get no runs on 1 hit, no errors in the inning, and they leave 1 runner on base. The Americans coming to bat here in the bottom of the top of the second, here at Dunn Field. I'm Tom Rook. You're watching PGCBL Baseball on the Americans Sports Network.
Sammy's Pizzeria has been family-owned and operated for 3 generations since 1962 and are the originators of the 1/2 tray of pizza. The Americans would like to thank Sammy's for sponsoring the team this season. Pick up all your favorites right across the street from Sal Magley Stadium at Sammy's Pizzeria. The Niagara Falls Americans appreciate the support of Greater Together Credit Union. Greater Together Credit Union provides personalized banking, loans, mortgages, and savings accounts for anyone living, working, or attending school in Erie or Niagara counties. For more information, current rates, or to apply for membership, visit greatertogethercu.com. The Niagara Falls Americans appreciate the support of Stalka Agency. Serving Western New York since 1957, Stalka Agency makes insurance simple through proactive planning and straightforward conversations. Call the local Stalka Insurance team at 716-634-7070 to get a tailored insurance quote that's as precise as a pitcher painting the outside corner.
Back here at Dunn Field. In the top half of the second, the Americans ahead 1-0. Logan Stickler at the plate to lead things off for the red, white, and blue. He takes ball 1 up and in. Count 1-0. Nobody out in the inning. Americans 3 hits, 1 run in the first. Swing and a miss, strike 1 against Stickler. Pitch, check swing, and fouled off. So now 1-2. Home plate umpire having a conversation with Michael Geisler, who's out there for his second inning of work after ball was hit off of Dubeck behind the plate. Looks like he's going to be all right, though. His home plate umpire now retreats back behind home. And Geisler's back on the mound. Ahead of Stickler, 1-2. Here's the pitch. Up and out. Misses. Now 2-2. Good spot. But just off the plate. So count now even at 2. Geisler out of the windup. Here's the pitch to Stickler. In there. Called strike 3. Lands a slider right over the heart of the plate, but Stickler fooled, looking for something else. Down on strikes for the first out of the inning. That'll bring up Anthony Savino. Savino been swinging the bat very well as of late for the Americans. They lead 1-0. 1 out here in the top of the second. Geisler out of the windup. Deals to Savino. Outside corner with the slider. Called strike. 0-1. Pitch to Savino is fouled off. Now 0-2. Some changes now in the game for the Pios as a late scratch after the first inning for Brett Baker out in center field. So he's out of the game. Caleb Delaney slides over now in center. Trevor Reed in left. Tyson Gingrich now moves to right. Pitch in there just inside to Savino. So count is 1-2. Pitch, swing and a miss, strike 3. Savino down on a strike. Second strikeout of the ball game, of the inning, for Geisler. Fourth strikeout now of the ball game. Ended the first with 2 straight strikeouts. And now has mowed down 2 more Americans. So 4 straight for Geisler. That'll bring up Ryutaro Munakata. Americans lead 1-0 here in the top of the second. We're at Dunn Field in Elmira, New York. Out of the windup, pitch from Geisler outside with a heater. 1-0 to Munakata. Nate Kroll, a good inning in that bottom of the first for the Americans, but Geisler really grooving. Munakata bounced to short, fielded by Tidwell, goes across the diamond, gets the third out of the inning. So 1-2-3 bounce back inning for Michael Geisler. And the Pios trail the Americans 1-0. They're coming to bat here in the bottom of the second at Dunn Field in Elmira, New York. You're watching PGCBL Baseball right here on the American Sports Network.
The Niagara Falls Americans appreciate the support of Stalka Agency. Serving Western New York since 1957, Stalka Agency makes insurance simple through proactive planning and straightforward conversations. Call the local Stalka insurance team at 716-634-7070 to get a tailored insurance quote that's as precise as a pitcher painting the outside corner. Sammy's Pizzeria has been family owned and operated for 3 generations since 1962 and are the originators of the one-half tray of pizza. The Americans would like to thank Sammy's for sponsoring the team this season. Pick up all your favorites right across the street from Sal Maglie Stadium at Sammy's Pizzeria. Support of Stalka Agency. Serving Western New York since 1957, Stalka Agency makes insurance simple through proactive planning and straightforward conversations. Call the local Stalka insurance team at 716-634-7070 to get a tailored insurance quote that's as precise as a pitcher painting the outside corner.
Back here at Dunn Field in Elmira, New York. As we're into the bottom of the second, Americans lead 1-0 against the Pioneers. Dunn Field been around for a really, really long time. It was built in 1938. Seats 4,020, also 312 box seats. Don't really see that too much out of a collegiate summer league stadium, but Dunn Field's got them. So leading off now for the Pios is Alex Davis. Nate Kroll out of the windup, the 0-0. Fastball misses down and in, now 1-0. So we're now in the bottom of the second here at Dunn Field. Score is 1-0, count is 1-0. Kroll deals. Outside corner gets the call, strike one. Evens up the count. At ones at the plate for the Pios is Alex Davis, the extra hitter here in Game 1, riding a 5-game on-base streak. Also 4 for his last 10 at the plate in the Pioneers uniform. Kroll deals the 1-1. Davis gives that a ride down the right field line, but foul. Now 2-1. 1-2, excuse me. So Kroll quickly ahead of Alex Davis, the leadoff hitter here in the bottom of the second. Pios had a double from Caleb Delaney in the first. That's their only hit of the ball game so far, but we're only in the second. Count is 1-2. Nate Kroll on the mound against the righty Alex Davis, the extra hitter. Here's the pitch. Swinging a foul tip, but not hung on by Snooze behind the plate, so it'll stay 1-2. Really tough play for catchers to make back there behind the dish, and squeezing that ball on a foul tip. So count now 1-2. Kroll working now out of the stretch against the right-hander Davis. Here's the pitch. Inside, misses with an off-speed. Now 2-2. Count evened up. Americans Pioneers split last year, 3-3 in the season series, tied 1-1 now this year. That one's hit to short, fielded by Savino with one hand, throws on the run, a pretty play from the hometown hero for out number 1. Just your standard 6-3 put out, but Savino does a nice job coming on, charging it on a dirt field here like Dunn Field, whereas Sal Maglie plays a little bit different. Niagara Falls off the turf, might hop a little bit higher, so Savino comes in and gets it, and makes the out at number 1. Makes out number 1. Brandon Dubeck now at the plate, his first at-bat of the afternoon, doing the catching here in Game 1. Threw out a runner in the top of the first in Justin Gladfelter. 1 out in the inning. We're in the bottom of the second. First pitch to Dubeck. Misses upstairs. Ball 1. Dubeck wears number 3 for the Pios. A returner. Played for the Pioneers last summer. 28 games. Hit .314. 8 doubles and 2 home runs as well. Here's the 1-0. Taken down and in. Ball 2. So a big pitch coming here for Nate Kroll. Got to be a little bit careful against a guy like Dubeck who has pop. Just 264 this summer. Still very solid at the plate. 1 homer, 18 RBIs. Riding a 3-game hitting streak. Hit his first homer of the season this past week. That one's bounced to third. Marcotte fields with one hand going across the diamond. Got him. 2 ground outs by the Pios, and Nate Kroll, 2 quick outs on the mound. And that'll bring up Tyson Gingrich. Tough night 2 nights ago in Newark for that left side of the infield for the Americans. That night it was Cooper Rowell at third, Justin Gladfelter at short. This afternoon you got Marcotte at third, Savino at short. They've made all the plays that have come their way so far tonight. Gingrich at the plate, batting from the left side against the lefty Kroll. Takes a ball inside. 1-0. Kroll behind against the lefty Gingrich. 263 hitter. Pitch. Gingrich checks his swing. Doesn't go around, though. So 2-0 is the count. Gingrich has got a hit in 4 of his last 6 games. Getting the start in left field, but moving over to right with the injury to Brett Baker. Count 2-0. Pitch from Kroll. Inside, missing. Now 3-0. Kroll, Snooze, a really good relationship in this battery for the Americans. Kroll at Onondaga Community College, where Snooze at SUNY Niagara, so 2 junior colleges in the area. Pitch from Kroll inside, just gets the call on the corner. So now 3-1. 2 outs, nobody on. We're in the bottom of the second here at Dunn Field in Elmira, New York. Americans lead 1-0 against the Pioneers. Americans playing Gingrich to pull. Harris shaded over a little bit in the right center gap. Here's the 3-1. Outside corner, just misses. Ball 4. About a half a ball off the plate. Home plate umpire not giving that pitch this afternoon so far. So a 2-out walk issued. Tyson Gingrich reaches. Then I'll bring up Jalen Tidwell, who found himself in the top 4 of the order for the better half of the beginning part of the season, but now has slid down a little bit, hitting in that 7th spot tonight. So Gingrich off first, 2 outs in the inning. Kroll checks Gingrich. First pitch. Skied out to shallow right. Going to be a long run for Munakata. He won't get there, but it lands foul. Almost got there, did Munakata, but just fell right in front of him. So now 0-1 against Jalen Tidwell. Kroll on the mound. 0-1 count, 2 outs in the inning. Pitch, chopped to third. Fair ball over the glove of Marcotte, trickles into left field. Ganschow will field it, get it in. Play at second, not in time. Tidwell is on with a double down the third baseline, and the Piles are set up second and third here with 2 outs in the inning. So Tidwell now at second. And Gingrich goes from first to third on the play. A chopper over the glove of Marcotte at third. Would have been a really tough play. So definitely ruled a hit. Pitch misses. 1-0. Swing and a miss there as well. Sorry for the technical trouble we're having here at Elmira. Had some technical trouble last night at Sal Magley Stadium here on the American Sports Network. Now we're back. Count is 2-0. Nate Kroll against Ryan Gabinelli playing first base this afternoon for the Pioneers. 2 outs in the inning. 2 O's in there. A called strike. Now 2-1. Pioneers have runners at second and third with 2 outs in the inning. So a big at-bat here for Gabinelli, looking to drive in some runs for the Pios, who have not scored any yet today. Kroll comes set, delivers to Gabinelli. Pitch inside corner, misses. Now 3-1, so Gabinelli way ahead in the count. Gabinelli got the start at third base the last time these two teams met up, but now at first base this afternoon in Game 1. Count 2-2. Pitch fouled off, so it'll stay 2-2. That last pitch was called a ball. Excuse me, a strike. It was called a strike. So 2-2 is the count after he fouls that one back as well. So still 2-2. Tidwell at second, Gingrich at third, Gabinelli at the plate against Nate Kroll in his second inning of work for the red, white, and blue. Americans lead 1-0 here in the bottom of the second at Dunn Field. Pitch from Kroll. Outside corner, just misses with a changeup. That'll load the count full. So Kroll working back in the count here. Just misses with a really good changeup there, lone away. So 3-2, 2 outs, runners at second and third. Gabinelli, a .310 hitter here at Dunn Field. Had some luck this year at home. Here's the 3-2. Kroll fouls back by Gabinelli. It'll stay 3-2. Gabinelli this year for the Pioneers, a .241 hitter, 7 RBIs, 10 runs scored. No stolen bases, though, for Gabinelli. Played 18 games. Pios 15-14 on the year, so in 29 played. Americans 9-23. Americans 9-23. They played 32 games compared to the Pios. Just 29. A lot of baseball as of late for the Americans, kind of in the middle of a 10-game-in-a-row stretch here for the red, white, and blue. They'll take on the Newark Pilots tomorrow at home, Sal Magley Stadium. Big home stretch coming up for the red, white, and blue. 4 games at home this week, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. Kroll, 3-2 against Gabinelli. Here's the pitch. Hit to the left side. Going to be a tough play. Savino fields in the hole. He won't have a play. Gets off his glove. Rounding third and heading for home is Tidwell. He'll score, and the Pioneers take a 2-1 lead on a ground ball in the 6 hole. Tough way for it to happen. Would have been a heroic play for Savino to even make a play at first, but you got a feel for him. On a tough play in the hole, he cannot make on that one. So the Pios lead now 2-1. Gotta give Savino credit, though. Went all out for it. The backhand stopped just off the glove. So now 2-1. Gabinelli off first. Pitch. Outside. Just misses. Now 1-0. So that play called an error. Americans 3 errors last night. Gabinelli off first. Pitch from Kroll, outside corner. Gets the call that time, so count is even up at 1. Pios now lead 2-1 with 2 outs in the inning. Runner at first in Gabinelli. This is Trevor Reed at the plate. Reed slotted into left field after the injury to Baker. Kroll deals outside, misses. Now 2-1. Americans seem like their bad luck has just continued to spiral again today with another error. Would have been a really, again, tough play by Savino in the hole but just off his glove, trickled into left field as well. Count 2-1. Kroll out of the stretch. Checks on Gabinelli at first. Delivers to Reed, who bounces that one fouled on the third baseline, even up the count at 2. So Nate Kroll going to be a sophomore at Onondaga Community College, getting the start today for the red, white, and blue. Count is even at 2, 2 outs in the inning. Runner at first and Gabinelli pitch. Reed skies that one out to shallow center. Coming on Harris. He dives. He makes the play. David Harris. A full Superman grab in center field for the third out of the inning. The Essex, Vermont native. What a play. How about David Harris? Does it at the plate, does it in the field, and makes the third out of the inning on a diving play in center to stop any further damage. The Americans coming to bat here in the top of the third. They trail 2-1 against the Pioneers.
The Niagara Falls Americans appreciate the support of Stalka Agency. Serving Western New York since 1957, Stalka Agency makes insurance simple through proactive planning and straightforward conversations. Call the local Stalka insurance team at 716-634-7070 to get a tailored insurance quote that's as precise as a pitcher painting the outside corner. Sammy's Pizzeria has been family owned and operated for 3 generations since 1962 and are the originators of the 1/2 tray of pizza. The Americans would like to thank Sammy's for sponsoring the team this season. Pick up all your favorites right across the street from Sal Magley Stadium at Sammy's Pizzeria. The Niagara Falls Americans appreciate the support of Greater Together Credit Union. Greater Together Credit Union provides personalized banking, loans, mortgages, and savings accounts for anyone living, working, or attending school in Erie or Niagara counties. For more information, current rates, or to apply for membership, visit greatertogethercu.com. The Niagara Falls Americans would like to thank Coca-Cola for their support this season. Known for its refreshing bubbles and iconic flavor, Coca-Cola is the world's best-selling carbonated soft drink. Snag a Coke right here at the Sal Magley Stadium concession stand and make your game day even sweeter.
So the Pioneers have a 2-1 lead over the Americans, as that'll bring up CJ Snooze. David Harris ending that half an inning with a diving play. Pioneers scored 2 runs on 1 hit, 1 error in the inning, and they left 1 runner left on base. CJ Snooze to lead things off for the Americans. Takes a fastball on the outside corner, called strike from Michael Geisler, who's back out there for his 3rd inning of work today for the Pioneers. 2:05 start here for Game 1. Game 2 scheduled to start about 30 minutes after Game 1 ends. That one in there, called strike 2. Oh and 2, Snooze quickly behind. Pitch outside, misses. Now 1-2. Geisler really throwing today with that fastball. Again, anywhere from 93 to 95 with the heater coming over from the NECBL, the New England Collegiate Baseball League, now here in the PGCBL. Here's the 1-2. Pitch to Snooze. Fouled off on the first baseline. He's staying alive. Americans have had a real lack of production from the catcher position here as of late. Snooze hitless in his last 14 at-bats. Down 1-2. Pitch. Chopped foul, but doing a good job here with 2 strikes. Working to count deep. Nobody out in the inning. We're in the top of the 3rd here at Dunn Field in Elmira, New York. Count is 1-2. The Pioneers lead 2-1. 3 hits for both ball clubs. 1 error for the Americans to none for the Pioneers. Count 1-2. Pitch to Snooze. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Got him on a slider in the dirt. So Snooze down on strikes. 5th strikeout of the afternoon for Geisler. That'll recycle the order back to the top in Justin Gladfelter. who started this game off with an infield single, but then was thrown out trying to steal second. Gladfelter getting started second base today after playing a couple in a row at shortstop. Made a really nice diving play earlier in this one as well. Gladfelter bats from the right side. Pitch from Geisler, driven foul on the right field line. 0-1. Gladfelter riding now a 4-game on-base streak. Currently 4 for his last 14 at the plate. He's been on base, though, in 14 of his last 15 games. Just an on-base machine this year for the Americans. Count 0-2. Pitch. Hit down the right field line again. Behind on a slider. So it'll stay 0-2. 1 out in the inning. A C.J. Snooze strikeout. He's now 0 for his last 15 at the plate. Gladfelter consistently in that leadoff spot this year. .269 batting average. 29 runs scored to 21 stolen bags. Americans aggressive on the bases last night. See if that carries into this afternoon. Pitch outside misses. 1-2. 5 steals last night for the red, white, and blue. Vincent Favada had 3 of them. Been really swinging a good bat as of late has Favada, but not in the Game 1 lineup. Expect him most likely to be in the Game 2 lineup, I would think. Count is 1-2. Pitch to Gladfelter. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Good block back there from Dubek. Throws down to beat Gladfelter at first. No, he doesn't. It's dropped by Gabinelli. Gladfelter takes off for second, and he stops right there. So Gladfelter reaches on the drop third strike. Americans suddenly have a runner in scoring position with 1 out. Got to give Gladfelter some credit. Hustling out of the box. Making it tough on Dubek. Throws in the way, and Gabinelli couldn't squeeze it. Let him bring up David Harris. He's 1 for 1 today with an infield single. Americans 3 hits so far today. Top 4 in the lineup have all 3. Gladfelter, Harris, Ganchow. Gladfelter off second, 1 out in the inning. Pitch to Harris inside. Called a strike. So count 0-1. Pioneers going to ride Geisler as long as they can. He's really grooving with 5 strikeouts already. Just 2 1/3 innings into this one. Gladfelter off second. Geisler checks him. Now delivers to Harris. Bouncing ball to short. Fielded by Tidwell. Throws to first. Beats Harris for out number 2. Gladfelter moves from second to third. Americans have a runner now at third base with 2 outs. That'll bring up Dominic Zangardi. Not an easy bat to send back to the dugout in David Harris, but Geisler able to do so. Here's Dominic Zangardi. Zangardi, a monster night 2 nights ago in Newark against the Pilots. 3 hits, a triple side, the cycle with 5 RBIs. Then had a good night last night as well for the Americans. Riding a 3-game hit streak. 6 for his last 15. Pitch to Zangardi. Bouncing ball to short. Going to be a tough play. Tidwell charges. Barehand. Can't make it. Zangardi reaches down in the infield single. And a run scores, knotting this game up at 2. That's the 3rd infield single of the day for the Americans. They are dinking and dunking all over Geisler, but doesn't matter. It's 2-2. Feel the frustration steaming off of Geisler on the mound because of what he's going through with all these infield singles. Pick off to first. Zangardi back in time. Ganchow now at the plate. He's 1 for 1 today. With a long single. Zangardi off first. Ganchow checks his swing. Doesn't go around. So ball 1. Zangardi, good speed at first. Ganchow put something in the gap like he did last time. With 2 outs, Zangardi will be running off the bat. Good score on the play. Count 1-0. Zangardi off first, takes his secondary pitch, a slider in there, called strike. Now 1-1. Ganchow digging in after his next year teammate at Niagara University. Pitch to Ganchow's in the dirt. Good block by Dubik. Zangardi scampers back to first. Count now 2-1. Zangardi on the year. 6 stolen bags in 26 games played. Appeared in the most games so far this year for the Americans. It'll be a 2-1 to Ganchow. Pitch misses low and away. Now 3-1. Geisler behind in the count to the Americans' cleanup hitter. In the inning, Americans have 1 run on 1 hit. Game is tied 2-2. 4 hits for Niagara Falls to 3 for Elmira. There goes Zangardi off first. Pitch is called a strike. Thrown out to second in plenty of time. Got him. Zangardi thrown out. He thought he got around the tag. Threw up his hands right away. A close play at second. But Zangardi thrown out, so another caught stealing. Brandon Dubik is on fire back there today. So Ganchow will lead off the next inning as there's the third out of the inning made at second. We're going to the bottom of the third. Score is 2-2 here at Dunn Field. The Pios and the Americans here on the American Sports Network.
The Niagara Falls Americans appreciate the ongoing support of Blaze Brockway Contracting. Family owned and operated for over 15 years, Blaze Brockway Contracting specializes in all aspects of remodeling and renovation. Call 607-259-7607 for all of your construction and home improvement needs. The Niagara Falls Americans thank Casella Waste Systems for their continued support. Casella offers sustainable waste management and garbage pickup right here in Niagara Falls. As an environmental service provider, Casella manages and transforms society's waste into new resources. Call 716-637-4843 to get a price quote on garbage pickup. A special thank you to Tropical Heating and Cooling for sponsoring the Americans this season. Locally owned and operated, Tropical Heating and Cooling provides expert installation, repair, and maintenance for home heating, cooling, and air quality systems. Call 716-870-0753 or head to tropicalheating.net to submit a service request and knock your heating and cooling needs out of the park. The Niagara Falls Americans would like to thank Bully Hill Vineyards for their support all season long. On the south end of gorgeous Keuka Lake, you can taste over 40 wines and enjoy food at a family-friendly winery open 7 days a week. Visit bullyhillvineyards.com to learn more about what they have to offer.
So we're headed to the bottom of the third. Score is even now at 2. Americans Pioneers in the third meeting between these two teams this year. But this one taking place at Dunn Field. First time the Americans are at Dunn Field in 2026. Like I mentioned earlier, though, 3-3. These two teams knotted up in the season series last year. Still now 1-1. Just 4 times they will play each other this year. Bring up Manny Esley. Takes it on the inside corner for strike 1. Esley moved into the leadoff spot after Brett Baker scratched from the lineup. He was hitting third, so Esley goes from 10-1 and kind of recycled through the lineup. 0-1 from Kroll. Outside, misses now 1-1. Nate Kroll out there for his third inning of work against a strong Pioneers hitting ball club. They are 15-14 on the year. Had their struggles, but also had their positives. Currently sitting in a playoff spot if it were to end today. Really close race, though, for that 4 spot. Pitch inside, gets the corner, now 1-2. Right now, it's pretty much locked up with Batavia, Jamestown, Auburn, top 3. Still about 2 weeks left in the season, but those three really kind of cruising for the top three. Then 4 is between Elmira, the Ironbacks, Olean, Geneva sneaking in the mix as well. You never know how it will end. Here's the 1-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Kroll gets Esley down on strikes for the first out of the inning. Gets him to chase a changeup down and away. Really nice spot right there from Nate Kroll to get Esley down on strikes. As that'll bring up Caleb Delaney, who doubled down the third baseline. His first at-bat on a beauty of a swing that bounced right over the bag. Kind of one of those left-handed back-spinning hits that rolls over the third base bag. And Delaney got to second on the play. Kroll deals outside, misses 1-0. Added to the effect because it's a lefty-lefty matchup. Kroll, a guy that throws a lot of off-speed pitches, so Delaney able to get a spinner and take it the other way. Not hit it too hard, but hard enough. Count 1-0. Lefty-lefty. Pitch to Delaney. Drives that one into left field. It'll fall for a base hit. Delaney's second hit of the ball game, and he's on here with 1 out in the bottom of the third. So Delaney's 2 for 2 today. Was going to play right field, but without Brett Baker in the lineup, now Delaney moved over to center. Delaney, 5 steals on the year. Not a huge threat to run, but his batting average climbing. Came into today batting .460. That'll bring up Nick Spanner, Spanner played in 13 games this year for the Pioneers. He's reached in all 13. Pitch up and away, ball 1. So 1 out here in the bottom of the third. Caleb Delaney, a 1-out single the opposite way. He's at first. Nick Spanner at the plate. He's 0 for 1 today. Bounced to second. His first time up as the designated hitter. Americans looking for another ground ball to spin it. Pitch. Outside corner gets the call. Backdoor curveball in there. First strike by Kroll. Now 1-1. Kroll dealing from the left side today, a sophomore out of Onondaga Community College against this Pioneers lineup. Good lead for Delaney at first. Not going anywhere. Pitch delivered, fouled off by Spanner. Now 1-2. Spanner had a really successful high school career out in Portsmouth, Rhode Island. Was a 2024 Rhode Island Gatorade Player of the Year nominee and was the #1 ranked catcher in all of Rhode Island coming out of his high school class in 24. Here's the 1-2 from Kroll. Gives that one a ride to Spanner. Harris over into right center. Calls off Munakata. Makes the play for the second out of the inning. Nice job by David Harris running that ball down. Plays a really good center field out there for this Americans team. An area where the Americans have struggled, not necessarily just center field, but on defense this year. In the bottom 5 of the PGCBL in errors on the year. So that'll bring up Manny Castro playing third base today for the Pios. 2 outs, runner at first in Delaney. Pitch from Kroll, hit the other way, foul, out of play. Now 0-1. Castro today, he's 0 for 1. Bounced to third base his last time up in the first. Playing just 7 innings today here at Dunn Field. Count is 0-1. There goes Delaney off first. Pitch is low. Called a strike. Throw down from Snooze. Not in time. Delaney steals second. So the Pios able to get a runner in scoring position here in Caleb Delaney. He's got his 6th steal of the year. 2 outs in the inning for Manny Castro at the plate, who's down 0-2. A good spot from Nate Kroll down and away to land a changeup against Castro. Count 0-2. 2 outs in the inning. Delaney a good lead off second. Pitch from Kroll inside corner. Just misses. Now 1-2. Tried to spot up a fastball there. catch Castro sleeping, but couldn't get it by him. Couldn't hit a spot, I should say. Got it by him, just couldn't hit a spot in the inside corner. Count 1-2. Pitch from Kroll outside, misses. Now 2-2. Long history of baseball here in Elmira, speaking of, especially with the Pioneers as of late, though, in the PGCBL. A successful history. They've won back-to-back West Division champs in 23-24. Muck Dogs won it last year in 25. Looking like they're going to do so here in 26. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Pitch from Kroll outside, misses low, so now 3-2. Can USA been running the league here in the past 3 years, now for a 4th straight in 2026. Pio's winning 23-24. Muck Dogs last year and looking like they're going to do so again this year, but still 2 weeks left to play. Here's the 3-2 from Kroll. Fastball, driven foul, out of play. Now 3-2 once again coming from Kroll against Castro. Castro joining this Pioneers team for the second half of the summer. Playing third base this afternoon. Batting in that 4 spot. Caleb Delaney at second. Gladfelter holding him on, jockeying at second. Counts full, 3-2. Pitch from Kroll. That one's popped up into shallow right. Gladfelter going out. Munakata coming in. A diving play by Ryotaro Munakata. Saves a run. And there's the 3rd out at the bottom of the 3rd. The Americans coming to bat here in the top of the 4th. We're still tied 2-2 here at Dunn Field.
The Niagara Falls Americans thank Casella Waste Systems for their continued support. Casella offers sustainable waste management and garbage pickup right here in Niagara Falls. As an environmental service provider, Casella manages and transforms society's waste into new resources. Call 716-637-4843 to get a price quote on garbage pickup. The Niagara Falls Americans would like to thank TLC Pet Food for their continued support. Specializing in nutrient-dense recipes, TLC Pet Food offers dog and cat food with fresh ingredients and added probiotics. Find the whole life dog and cat formulas for your furry friend at tlcpetfood.com. The Niagara Falls Americans appreciate the ongoing support of Blaze Brockway Contracting. Family owned and operated for over 15 years, Blaze Brockway Contracting specializes in all aspects of remodeling and renovation. Call 607-259-7607 for all of your construction and home improvement needs. The Niagara Falls Americans would like to thank Bully Hill Vineyards for their support all season long. On the south end of gorgeous Keuka Lake, you can taste over 40 wines and enjoy food at a family-friendly winery open 7 days a week. Visit bullyhillvineyards.com to learn more about what they have to offer.
Tom Rook with you here at Dunn Field in Elmira, New York. It's the Americans and the Pioneers battling for the 3rd time here in 2026. Score is 2-2. We're in the top of the 4th. Last time these two teams faced off all the way back on June 28th. That was the last time the Americans won a baseball game. They won it 8-7 in extras in Game 2 of the doubleheader. Game 1, they got blown out 13-0. So leading off now for the Americans is Matt Ganschow, who had the bat taken out of his hands last half inning. After Zangardi was thrown out at second trying to steal. Pitch from Geisler outside. Misses. Ball 1. Geisler back out there for his 4th inning of work here in his first start for the Pioneers after coming over from the North Shore Navigators in the New England Collegiate Baseball League. Count 1-0. Pitch. Ganschow takes it down the middle, but just missed low a little bit. So down the middle of the plate, but below the zone for a ball. Count 2-0, good hitter's count here for power hitting Ganschow. Pitch. Chopped to short. Tidwell fields with one hand, throws on the run. Dropped at first by Gabinelli. So Ganschow will reach on the play. That one looks like going to be called an E6. Second error of the ball game for the Pios. Now 4 between the two teams. And the Americans have their leadoff runner on in Matt Ganschow. That'll bring up Adam Weiss. Struck out his first time up against Geisler, who surrendered a lot of guys getting on base today via the infield hit or error. First pitch to Weiss, a fastball outside corner, called a ball, 1-0. Geisler wanted that call, signaling to the home plate umpire. Was that low? It looks like it was. Just missing. So Weiss ahead in the count 1-0. Ganschow off first, not too big of a lead. Pitch from Weiss to Weiss, inside, misses, now 2-0. So back-to-back 2-0 starts to the count for Geisler. Nobody warming in the Pioneer bullpen. Looks like going to be Geisler as long as he can go. We're in the top of the fourth, nobody out. 2-0 count to Adam Weiss. Pitch. Low, now 3-0. Weiss been a walk machine this year for the Americans. He's ahead now, 3-0 in the count. Weiss struggling a little bit at the plate, though, as of late. 1 for his last 10 after starting 4 for 10 in July. Pitch outside. That one's called a strike with a fastball. Now 3-1. Ganschow off first. You wonder, a good hit and run count right here for a guy like Weiss that puts the ball in play. See Ganschow take off on the pitch more than likely. 3-1 count. There he goes. Pitch to Weiss. Chopped to short. So it'll break up the double play. Sliding stop by Tidwell. Gets to his feet. Throws to first. Weiss beats it out as Gabinelli drops it on the pick. So back-to-back infield ground balls allows two Americans hitters to reach. See how that one scored, but now first and second for the red, white, and blue. Nobody out for Tom Marcotte as the Pioneers will bring the corners in. That one ruled a hit. Would have been a heroic play at shortstop by Tidwell. Made a diving stop on the backhand, popped to his feet, threw across the diamond on a hop. Gabinelli just couldn't handle the pick. So here's the first pitch to Thomas Marcotte. Squaring around a bunt. Gets it down right back to Geisler. He's going to go to first. So Marcotte gets the job done. Something the Americans have not been able to do is get that sacrifice bunt down. But Marcotte does it tonight. And now the Americans have second and third. This afternoon, I should say. For Logan Stickler. So now Weiss at second, Ganschow at third, 1 out in the inning. Stickler at the plate. Pioneers will bring the infield halfway. Stickler batting from the right side. 1 out in the inning. Pitch to Stickler, swing and a miss. Strike 1. Stickler, one of a couple returners for this Americans team this year. Been swinging it well at the plate as of late. 3 for his last 7. 1 RBI on the year. Stickler bounces that one to third. He'll get a run in. Going to be a tough play. Castro beats Stickler to the bag. Weiss takes third. So Ganschow scores on the play. Makes it a 3-2 ball game. Weiss moves up from second to third. And Stickler gets his second RBI of the year. Americans lead 3-2. Heck of a job by Logan Stickler right there. A 5-3 RBI put out. Americans now lead 3-2. They're going to rely on Nate Kroll to keep them in this game on the mound. And looks like they're going to continue to put up runs. On the offensive side, as that'll bring up Anthony Savino. First pitch is taken upstairs for ball 1. So now 2 outs in the inning. Niagara Falls ahead of Elmira, 3-2 here in the top of the 4th. Pitch to Weiss. Skied out to left center. Savino drives it out there, and that'll be caught by Trevor Reed for the 3rd out of the inning. So Savino gave it a ride, just got underneath it a little bit too much. But in the inning, the Americans take a 3-2 lead. They score 1 run on 1 hit. Also a sacrifice bunt in the inning. 1 error in the inning and 1 runner left on base. The Pioneers coming to bat here in the bottom of the second as Nate Kroll walks back out for the Americans. Remember, he's just in his first start of the season for the Red, White, and Blue. But as well as Michael Geisler is on the other side for the Pios. As Kroll warms up. Tell you about Red Robin. The Niagara Falls Americans would like to thank Red Robin for their season-long support. Famous for its gourmet burgers, family-friendly atmosphere, and signature bottomless sides, Red Robin has something for everyone to enjoy. Make your next meal a home run. Swing by Red Robin and catch all your favorites under one roof. Americans would also like to thank Stalka Agency for their generous support this season. Since 1957, Stalka Agency has been a proud provider of comprehensive insurance services to the Western New York community. Stalka Agency specializes in having real conversations, straightforward guidance without industry jargon, and proactive planning. Get tailored insurance quotes or policy assistance by calling the local Stalka Agency team at 716-634-7070. So we're now in the bottom of the fourth. Americans lead 3-2 against the Elmira Pioneers, another KNUSA-owned ball club. Nate Kroll back out there for his fourth inning work as Brandon Drum, the manager of the Pioneers, trots out to the third base coaching box, or where it would be. No boxes here at Dunn Field. So that'll bring up Alex Davis. Bounced to shortstop his first time up back in the second inning. 0 for 1 today. Kroll works out of the stretch with nobody on base. A left-hander. Here's the pitch. Inside corner. Just misses with a fastball. So 1-0 to Alex Davis. Americans have lost their last 11 in a row. Yesterday, 7-11, but they've lost their last 11 in a row. Count 1-0 to Davis. Pitch bounced down the third base line. Foul. So now 1-1. We're in the bottom of the fourth. Americans lead 3-2. Their last win came against the Pioneers in extra innings in game one of a doubleheader at Sal Magley Stadium back on June 28th. Count 1-1. Pitch from Kroll. Swing and a miss. Strike 2. Kroll quickly ahead of Alex Davis, who whiffed on the pitch. Davis behind in the count 1-2. Nobody out in the inning. We're in the bottom of the fourth. Nobody on. Kroll deals. Outside corner. Gets the call. Strike 3. Kroll gets Davis down on strikes for the first out of the inning. Looking. A nice pitch from Nate Kroll to get the first out of the inning. Drops an off-speed pitch at the top of the zone. One of the tougher pitches to judge at the plate. As that'll bring up Brandon Dubeck. Doing the catching here in game one this afternoon for the Pioneers. He wears number 3 this summer. One out in the bottom of the fourth. Pitch from Kroll outside. This is now 1-1. Dubeck from Maplewood, New Jersey, riding a 3-game hitting streak. And in those 3 games, he's 3 for 5 with 5 walks. Count 1-0. Pitch inside corner. Called a strike. Now 1-1. As Kroll lands an off-speed pitch right in there. Count is even at 1. Kroll working out of the stretch. Americans playing at normal depth in the infield. 1-1 pitch inside corner. Called a strike. Good spot by Kroll. Right there on the inner half to a guy like Dubeck, who is crowding the plate. Who's now going to step off it a little bit. See him take about a half a step off the plate. Change his approach here with 2 strikes. Looking to put the ball in play. against Luke Kroll. Count 1-2, one out here in the bottom of the fourth. Kroll deals. Low, misses. Good block from Snooze, but won't matter. Nobody on base. Good spot from Kroll again, trying to get Dubek to chase. Evens up the count at 2. Count 2-2, one out in the inning. Pitch from Kroll. That one's driven out to shallow center. Harris comes on. He makes the play for the second out of the inning. 2 quick outs for Luke Kroll. Nate Kroll, excuse me. Doing a good job so far here in this 4th inning, limiting Pioneers' action. Had to strand a runner at 3rd in the 1st inning and 3rd inning. After Caleb Delaney had 2 hits, but has not scored yet today. That'll bring up the left-hander Tyson Gingrich at the plate. So lefty-lefty matchup favors Kroll. First pitch, inside corner, called a strike. Kroll really living on the corners so far. Doing a good job spotting him up. See a lot of pitchers spot the corner. They can only hit one side of the plate. Kroll doing it on both sides. Really spotted the inside corner last at-bat against Dubik. Now doing it against Gingrich. Gingrich hits that one on the right field line foul. So quickly 0-2, Kroll ahead. Last time these two teams met, Tyson Gingrich had a solo shot in game 1 of the doubleheader. The Pioneers won that one 13-0. So count is 0-2 now. Kroll ahead against Gingrich. 3-2 the Americans lead. Here's the 0-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Kroll, 2 strikeouts in the inning. A strong outing so far here against the Pioneers. Just allowed 2 runs in 4 innings worth of work. As there's out number 3. A 1-2-3 inning for Nate Kroll. And the Americans are coming to bat in the top of the 5th here at Dunn Field.
Sammy's Pizzeria has been family-owned and operated for 3 generations since 1962 and are the originators of the 1/2 tray of pizza. The Americans would like to thank Sammy's for sponsoring the team this season. Pick up all your favorites right across the street from Sal Magley Stadium at Sammy's Pizzeria. The Niagara Falls Americans would like to thank McDonald's for being a sponsor of the team this year. With an extensive menu of well-known favorites, McDonald's is famous for its convenience. Especially during a long baseball season, McDonald's is the perfect place to grab a quick bite to eat and get right back to the ballpark. So head to your nearest McDonald's and enjoy all the classics. The Niagara Falls Americans would like to thank TLC Pet Food for their continued support. Specializing in nutrient-dense recipes, TLC Pet Food offers dog and cat food with fresh ingredients and added probiotics. Find the whole life dog and cat formulas for your furry friend at tlcpetfood.com. The Niagara Falls Americans would like to thank Bully Hill Vineyards for their support all season long. On the south end of gorgeous Keuka Lake, you can taste over 40 wines and enjoy food at a family-friendly winery open 7 days a week. Visit bullyhillvineyards.com to learn more about what they have to offer.
So a new pitcher now on the mound, a familiar face for the Americans. Cannon Van Duzer for the Pioneers. So Michael Geisler's day is done. The Americans got Geisler in and out of this ball game. A really good pitcher. Now out of the game, able to get to the bullpen for the Pioneers. Geisler in the game, 4 innings, 5 hits, 3 runs, 1 earned, 6 strikeouts in just 4 innings worth of work. 54 pitches in those 4 innings. Kroll up to 66 pitches in 4 innings. So a little bit higher than Geisler was, but still not ridiculously high in a 7-inning ball game. 2 7-inning games today here in a twin bill between the Pios and the Americans. Van Duzer came in the last time these two teams met. Back in June, on June 28th, in Game 2 of the doubleheader. In that game, it was an extra inning game. Van Duzer came in the 8th, Runner started at second base. First batter at the plate was Alex Glasscock for the Americans. He got a bunt down right back at Van Duzer, who threw the ball over the first baseman's head, and the rest was history. Savino scored on the play from second, and the Pioneers suffered an 8-7 loss. So I'm sure Van Duzer ready for some revenge here against the Americans. We're in the top of the fifth now. Score is 3-2. Niagara Falls over Elmira. Ryotaro Munakata leading things off now. Takes that one for ball one. Munakata 0 for 1 today. Bounced to shortstop in his first time up. Hasn't seen a ton of success at the plate as of late, but been really good out in the outfield. Made a nice diving catch earlier in this game. Takes that one inside, ball two. See Munakata range anywhere from left to right this summer. Also the extra hitter, the designated hitter. But done a good job for the most part in left and right. Count 2, good hitters count. Pitch inside, called a strike. Now 2-1. A fastball landed by Van Duzer. Count is 2-1. Nobody out of the inning. Americans lead 3-2 here at Dunn Field. Here's the pitch to Munakata. Chop foul. Now 2-2. Count evened up. Munakata will shift to the two-strike approach. We've seen a lot of guys on this Americans team do as of late to try to stay alive in the count. Munakata on the year, 138 hitter with 6 RBIs. Hitless in his last 5 games. But like I mentioned, done a really good job out there in the outfield. Count is 2-2. Van Duzer out of the stretch. The reliever deals to Munakata. Outside corner, just misses off the plate. Loads the count full, 3-2. Americans have left 3 guys on base this afternoon. 5 hits in the ballgame for the red, white, and blue compared to 4 for Elmira. Count 3-2. Pitch from Van Duzer. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Gets Munakata down on 6 pitches for the first out of the inning. That'll bring up CJ Snooze, who's 0 for 1 with a strikeout. Snooze plays his collegiate ball at SUNY Niagara, the national championships of junior college, Division III junior college this year. Snooze's father, also Chris, actually played a long time in the minor leagues. Outside corner, gets called strike 1, does Van Duzer. Van Duzer coming in out of the pen for the Pios. Where's number 26? A two-way guy, also can play first base. Swing and a miss, strike 2. Snooze behind in the count. Van Duzer, a 6'4", 290-pound redshirt senior at SUNY Brockport. Just 3 appearances this past year at Brockport. 1 inning, 2 earned runs, 2 strikeouts. Pitch to Snooze, swing and a miss. And he's matched his yearly total for Brockport here in 1 inning for the Pioneers with 2 strikeouts against Munakata and Snooze. That'll bring up Justin Gladfelter. He's 0 for 1 today, or excuse me, 1 for 2 today. Had the wrong guy there. Gladfelter steps in, had an infield single to start the game in the top of the first. In the third, reached on a drop third strike. Now at the plate with 2 outs. Pitch outside. Gets the call, does Van Duzer for strike number 1. Gladfelter, 5'9" at the plate against the 6'4" Van Duzer. Quite a height difference here. Count 0-1. Pitch to Gladfelter. Low. Now 1-1. Americans lead 3-2. Now in the top of the 5th. A 7-inning game 1, followed by a 7-inning game 2. Pitch to Gladfelter. Bounce to third. Going to be a tough play. Backhand field by Castro. A long throw. Beats Gladfelter by about a half a step. A nice play by Manny Castro to end the top half of the 5th. Really made it look easy there on the backhand. Gladfelter is retired for the 3rd out of the inning. And that'll bring us to take a look at the standings around the PGCBL West Division. The Batavia Muck Dogs in first place like they have been for a good part of the season now. They are 23-6-1 on the year. Yes, you can tie here in the PGCBL. Game goes to 10 innings. That's all they'll play. So if the game is tied after 10, it stays a tie and puts a spot on the records for these teams. You'll see with ties, Jamestown in second. They've tied twice, once with Batavia, once with the Ironbacks of Niagara. So 21-7-2 for Jamestown, who's had a really successful season on the road. 14-2-1 outside of Dietrich Park compared to at Dietrich Park, where they're just 7-5-1. Still a very good record there. They're just 3 games out of first place with the Amsterdam Mohawks in the East Division. The Auburn Doubledays consistently been in third this year, 18-10. Very consistently good on the road and at home. 10-5 at home, 8-5 on the road. Pioneers holding on to that 4 spot, barely 15-14 on the year. The Ironbacks, they've won their last 5 in a row off yesterday, but playing against the Muck Dogs today, a tough matchup. But that one's taking place in Niagara, St. Catharines, Ontario, George Taylor Field. A good matchup to watch there. Oleana Oilers defeated the Americans last night 4-2 in extra innings. They're 12-16. Geneva Red Wings, they've lost their last 2 after winning 5 in a row. They're 11-18. Americans 9-23, lost 11 in a row. And the Newark Pilots at the bottom of the standings in the West Division, 5-21 on the year are the Pilots. 17 games out of first place. With 2 weeks left to go here in this collegiate summer ball season. So Nate Kroll back out there on the mound for his 5th inning of work. The Pios have 9 outs left to work with here against him. Leading off is Tidwell. Shortstop today, takes one upstairs for ball 1. Tidwell, a guy with really good range over there in the 6 hole. Hitting .268 on the year. A couple of home runs and 13 RBIs as well. Here's the 1-0 from Kroll. It hits him. Tidwell reaches after he's hit by the curveball from Kroll. So Pios have a leadoff runner on. In Jalen Tidwell, 4 steals in 21 games, so not a huge threat to run is Tidwell. Elmira team doesn't steal a whole lot of bags on the year, near the bottom of the PGCBL in stolen bases. As that'll bring up Ryan Gabinelli, who, lack of a better word, has kind of had a tough day over there at first base with the throws to him from the Elmira infield. Gabinelli fouls that one back behind home. 0-1. Done his best over there at first. Tried to pick a couple balls out of the dirt, which is not an easy thing to do by any means, especially on a tough dirt field lip here at Dunn Field. Thick